Good morning. When we're trying to cope with life, do we use the wrong things? I'll talk about that in just a few seconds. Sometimes when we need to cope with some things in life that are either bringing us down or challenging us, we sometimes, most of the time, turn to the wrong things. Sometimes if we're frustrated with our job, we turn to overeating, or perhaps we don't eat at all. Some people turn to alcohol to deal with their problems, or drugs. Some people turn to pornography. Some people turn to working 70 hours a week because they don't want to deal with their family. Some people gamble too much. Some people get too involved in television or entertainment. Some people play video games for too many hours. I think that's a real problem because most of us don't really go to the place we ought to go to when we're dealing with something that's bothering us. If I'm frustrated with my job or a person or whatever, how does overeating or starving myself help? Well, it doesn't. If someone is frustrated with some other area of their life and they turn to alcohol, how does that help? Well, it ultimately doesn't. So you see what I'm trying to get at here. Most of the time when we turn to something that is not necessarily good for us, we just end up worse off. So what should we turn to? If we're facing temptation or we're facing problems or we're really frustrated, what should we turn to? Well, I think the real answer is to turn to prayer and to turn to communication with God. And one of the best ways to do that is to open up the Scripture. So instead of doing something negative or bad for you, maybe open up the Bible and read a little bit. Maybe ask God to help you. It will make you better, not worse. Usually when we turn to things that we shouldn't, after we have done so, we feel worse. The drunk wakes up and has a hangover. The person who turns to drugs gets addicted. The person who turns to pornography feels shame and emptiness. The person who overeats gets fat. The person who doesn't eat starts to waste away to nothing. But the person who turns to the Scriptures and turns to God begins to flourish and begins to deal with the problem rather than avoiding it by trying to exert control in another area. Those sayings, let go and let God, they're really true at their fundamental level. Now, I'm certainly no expert at always turning it over to God, but I'm getting better. As I get older and as I think more about it, I turn more things over to God than ever before, and I turn to Him rather than trying to do it myself. When we're little children, we want to do it ourselves, even though we can't, and our parents try to help us. We need to allow God to help us. He died for us. He loves us. Give Him a chance. Have a great day. Be kind to each other. See you next week.